Hello and welcome to ShanghaiEye. I'm Chen Juan.
Hello, I'm He Jian. One of the top items on the government's economic agenda for this year is boosting consumption. So today, let's talk about how the government might do in 2025 and what more tariffs and other trade restrictions might mean for markets and economy. And the 2024 data for consumer prices showed almost no growth. And many people are now curious about how to turn that around. So we have Timothy Pope, who spoke to Mr. Zhang Ning, UBS senior China economist, to talk about his views on that, and also they discuss the driving investment demand from foreign investors into local industries here in the country.
Zhang Ning, thanks so much for joining us.
My pleasure.
So, one of the top agenda items for the Chinese government in 2025 is boosting consumption. Now, the 2024 data for consumer prices showed almost no growth. How do we go about turning that around?
So CPI merely grew only 0.2% last year. So in this year, we think the disinflation on CPI may continue for a while, which means no much uptake from here. The key challenge here for sure will be three things. The first one is US higher tariffs, which will weigh on the not only about exports, but also for the corporate capex and household income and consumption. Second one is a prolonged profit downturn may last for a while, which will also weigh on the general demand for consumption, the wealth effect from the housing price decline, etc. The third one is China's quite strong capacities in light of the possibly slowing down exports. The balance between demand versus supply may be not that in good shape. That's why maybe the CPI disinflation could last for a while. We're forecasting maybe around 0.1%. So that's the consumer prices. Then let's back to the consumption boost. For sure, the government has been prioritizing consumption as a top task for this year's growth and policies. We can see the trade-in program is clearly expanded and extended. So we can see possibly the size of trade-in program can be more than doubled from last year 150 billion to this year maybe 300 billion, with a wider coverage, including not only auto and home appliances, but also consumer electronics, which will be good news for consumers and also will be good for consumption growth and prices. Second one, the government commitment from the Central Economic Conference supporting household sector, including several fronts. One is possibly the government could create a subsidy scheme for young families with children, a direct handout, which could support their consumption. The other one is to increase the payout level for China's basic pension program and even cover some contribution, which will be positive for China's long-term consumer confidence and for consumption.
You mentioned that there are, China's obviously facing US tariffs. It's not the only economy that is facing higher tariffs for its exports to the United States. Is there the potential for China and other economies to, in a sense, work together to maybe ease some of the burden imposed on their export markets?
Sure, actually it's happening. Which means if you look at China's market share breakdown in the past several years, so the China's exports to the US accounted for over 22% before 2018, 2017. Now the market share is only maybe 15%, 14%. But meanwhile, you can see China's overall global market share stays largely intact, which means China saw some diversification to elsewhere. That's what happened in the past several years. And looking forward in the next couple of years, clearly, US new administration try to be hawkish on everyone in the tariff fronts. That's why that will push China and elsewhere a little bit closer than before. You can see China's negotiation about EV with the European economies. Actually, it saw some progress in the past several weeks or months. And even for the relationship between China and Australia has been much better than before. So everyone may have some plan B to embrace a big uncertainties in the upcoming maybe 4 years.
You also talked about these trade-in programs and their role in boosting consumption. But in an economy the size of China's, how much impact can these sort of trade-in programs have? Or is it a case of we need lots of little things that add up to something big?
Purely from the size of a potential trading program, last year 150 billion, this year possibly 300 billion, we still look small, maybe 0.2% of GDP. So that's why this one, still small, but clearly it has a multiplier effect. It can drive up more consumption on top of the subsidy schemes. That's the first one. Second one, even with some kind of a multiplier effect, the best case could be we want more, which means the government can do even more. Like the trading program can be expanded to a more flexible use, like a general consumption coupon, not only about durable goods, but also for general discretionary and even for services, etc. Just what happened in Shanghai and even other big cities. That's we need central government's efforts. That's first one. Second one, more structurally, China need so-called structural support for household sector, especially for low-income group, for the elder people, for young families, which means this kind of handout or subsidies or even pension expenditure could be structured and a long-term one. That will be more permanent, more important than the simply trading program, which will eventually fit in. So that's why we need to see more efforts. We can see in the next couple of years, the structural shift of the fiscal policy away from kind of investment capacity supply side towards more consumption, more household sector could be the key focus for China.
Away from the consumption side of things, China's also looking to drive investment demand, particularly from foreign investors into local industry. In which sectors are we seeing the most payoff for that?
Sure, I believe there will be two fronts. The first one is the so-called traditional ones, which means mainly manufacturing sector. In particular, with two things here. Number one, of course, is higher tariffs for everyone. Number two here is the high energy cost for most of European countries. They can move their supply chain more to China, like BASF did before. That's the first one. But the more so-called inspiring ones could be the new areas, like service sector. Especially if you look at the third plenum statements from the government, the China plans to ease the access of China's service sector for foreign investors, like healthcare, education. That will be a new emerging sector for many global investors, which could enjoy high potential than elsewhere we can imagine before.
Zhang Ning, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so much.
Welcome to Shanghai A to Z. A new service center for expats has opened in Qingpu district called the Xicheng International Talent Hub. The hub offers various government and life services. The two-story, 780 square meter space is comprised of a service area, a multifunctional hall, a cafe, a business center, a youth center, and a book bar. It is located near the Xicheng Science and Technology Park. Designed specifically for expats, its public security window offers 23 services, including ID card application, household registration, passport processing, travel permits to and from Hong Kong, Macau, and Taiwan, and help with foreign visa document handling. These mainly include household registration of international students and foreigner work permits in China, residence permits for work, as well as visa extension, renewal, and reissue. The dedicated window has been staffed with personnel capable of speaking several foreign languages. In addition to work and registration services, the Xicheng International Talent Hub can provide tourism consultation services as well, and also driver's license renewal and dog registration services. There will also be cultural salons, team building, and health and wellness activities. And we've searched our socials and found some questions, so here's the Q&A. Today's question is from Olga in Russia. I will take a trip to Shanghai for a few days. Do I have any other option rather than getting a SIM card for long-term use? Well, hi Olga. You can pick up a short-term SIM card from Shanghai Telecom. They've got 7, 15 and 30-day cards. They provide services in English at their offices, on their hotline and online. It might be easiest to get one at the tourist service center just outside the arrival gates at airport. They offer services in English as well, and prices run from 85 to 195 yuan. Well, if you have questions for us, you can find us on all the socials.
We'd love to hear from you. You can find all our content online as well and join us here on Dragon TV Monday to Friday.
Thank you so much for watching and see you next time.